In his sunlit Chelsea studio, the painter Basil Hallward puts the final touches on a portrait of extraordinary beauty, a likeness of young Dorian Gray, so radiant it seems to capture not just his face, but his very soul. Basil confesses, half joking and half afraid, that he has put too much of himself into the work, and that such perfect beauty is dangerous to look upon for too long. Dorian, still innocent and unspoiled, laughs off the warning, delighted simply to see himself rendered so magnificently. Basil's friend, Lord Henry Wotton, arrives at the studio and meets Dorian for the first time. Over the course of an idle afternoon, Henry pours a stream of glittering, cynical philosophy into Dorian's ear, that youth and beauty are the only things worth having, that pleasure is the only thing worth pursuing, and that both fade tragically fast. Dorian, impressionable and flattered by the attention, drinks in every word, and something in him begins, quietly, to change. Struck for the first time by how fleeting his beauty will be, Dorian gazes at his own finished portrait and is seized by desperate envy of a painted image that will never age. In a moment of reckless passion, he cries out that he would give anything, even his soul, if only the portrait would grow old and bear the marks of sin and time instead of him. He does not yet know that his wish has been granted. Wandering into a shabby East End theatre one evening, Dorian is transfixed by a young actress named Sybil Vane, who plays Juliet with an aching, luminous sincerity. He falls instantly and completely in love, not truly with Sybil herself, but with the beautiful illusion of romance she performs each night. He courts her, and she, dazzled by his charm, falls in love in return and calls him her Prince Charming. Once Sybil truly falls in love, the artifice drains out of her acting. She can no longer perform passion she now genuinely feels, and one night she gives a wooden, lifeless performance. Dorian, who loved only the art and not the woman, is humiliated and disgusted. Backstage, he coldly tells her that she has killed his love by killing her art, and he abandons her in tears, walking out without a shred of mercy. The next morning, remorseful, Dorian resolves to make amends to Sybil, but Henry arrives with news that she has taken her own life in despair overnight. Reeling, Dorian returns home and notices something impossible. His portrait has changed. A new touch of cruelty has crept into the curve of its painted mouth, while his own face in the mirror remains untouched and innocent. He realizes with horror that the portrait is now bearing the burden of his sins, and that he himself will never age or show a mark of what he does. Freed from consequence, Dorian spends the following years chasing every pleasure and vice London's underworld can offer, moving through opium dens and disreputable company while his reputation quietly curdles into scandal. Each cruelty and indulgence leaves no mark on his own unchanging, youthful face. Instead, it is absorbed by the portrait, which he hides away, locked in the dusty attic of his childhood schoolroom. In secret, he visits it obsessively, watching it grow more grotesque and corrupted with every sin, a rotting mirror of his hidden soul. Basil, alarmed by rumors and Dorian's decline, corners him and demands to see the portrait he painted years ago. Cornered, Dorian finally unveils it, and Basil is horrified to see his once beautiful masterpiece transformed into a monstrous record of every hidden sin. Consumed by hatred for the one man who knows the truth of what he has become, Dorian seizes a knife and stabs Basil to death, then coldly arranges to have the body disposed of, sinking himself even further into the darkness the portrait already reflects. Years later, hunted by his own guilt, Dorian returns to the attic and destroys the monstrous portrait with the same knife he used to kill Basil, and the curse finally reverses onto his own body instead.